Hi guys, welcome to episode 9. I almost can't believe we've made it to episode 9. Me just waffling on really. No, welcome to episode 9. Recap, episode 8. What was episode 8? Choosing the right spouse is like choosing between heaven and hell. Great response from that. A lot of messages from girls saying, I'm going through the same thing, I made the same mistake. So it's always good to receive them kind of messages. Just because I know I'm not waffling to myself and I know that it's being received by the people that need to hear it. I don't mind waffling to myself, I'm quite happy doing that. But yeah, episode 9. This one I've decided to call, Are You Lost, Baby Girl? Right? Are you lost, baby girl? Because a lot of us are lost, or a lot of us have been lost. Lost through love, lost through whatever. But a lot of people that I speak to are lost through love. Now, what do I mean when I say lost through love? You can meet somebody and you can be with that person and you can be absolutely obsessed, enthralled, and in love with that person. And in that moment, because it's so intense, you lose yourself. You do things that you never thought you would do. You compromise with things that you wouldn't normally compromise with. You accept things that you wouldn't accept. You probably say things that you wouldn't say. Some of us, sometimes, I know I did, changed my whole ways, how I was, what I was willing to accept, even my own identity. So we can often lose ourselves through love. And I read a quote the other day that said something like, whilst you were trying to find his love, you lost yourself. That's deep. That is deep, and everybody has been through that. All of us girls, most of us girls have been through that, right? We've been so obsessed with somebody that we've put our own needs, our own wants, our own desires, our own plans, hopes, dreams, whatever, to the back. Because that person becomes our priority. And getting that person's love, attention, and getting them to be everything that we want them to be just consumes us. So via that method, we lose ourselves. And I went through this for a very long time. When I met the person that I married, I'll give you an example of how I lost myself. When I met the person that I married, I was at university doing counselling and psychology. I've said this before, you know this before, right? Left uni because it just wasn't possible to continue uni with all of the craziness going on in the marital home. It wasn't possible. I couldn't do university. I was stressed. I wasn't focused. So I left that. I lost that. I let that go. That goes totally against the person that I am. I am a hard worker. I am ambitious. I am a daydreamer. I'm a hardcore dreamer. I have dreams. I have plans. I have ambitions. I have always been like that. That's what makes me tick. But there was none of that. When I was in my marriage, the first thing to go was university. I just stayed at home after that, just living through this abuse and this domestic situation. No friendship group. I wasn't allowed friends. Not a really strong connection with my family because, they got in the way of that as well. I wasn't even allowed a phone at one point. I wasn't even allowed to have a phone. I was totally outcast from everybody. My life became just sitting in that house all day, doing nothing, pottering around the house. I had no friends. I had no friends. 0 friends. I lost my friends. I lost all of them because she's not allowed to hang out anymore. She's married. Her priorities have changed. We understand that. We get that. But she doesn't even hang out anymore. She doesn't even make an effort to come and see us. Not knowing that that's not through my own choice. I wasn't allowed to. I wasn't allowed to hang out with friends. I wasn't allowed to have friends. But that's the girl that I was before I got married. I think if you watch my videos or anybody who knew me before knows, I'm full of life. I love to go to new places. I love to try new things. I love to be with my friends. I love to socialise. I love to do all of them things. Going on a long drive with no purpose. Music playing with my friends. Perfect night. That's my opinion. That's the things that I love to do. But them things were stripped away from me. I wasn't allowed to do them things. So via this, I lost myself. And I went from being the person that I was to a shadow of my former self. Shadow. No hopes, no dreams, no ambition, no get up and go. I was very depressed at that time in my life. Very depressed. I had no literal existence. My existence was staying in the flat, going through domestic violence, getting hit, swear. Well, I'm not even getting into that. But you know what domestic violence means? That had become my existence. And I lost myself through this person. And I tried to change myself to be everything that this person wanted, just so that he would love me, just so that he wouldn't do the mean things that he did. I lost myself 100%. And some of you guys have as well, and that's normal and that's fine. We do these things for love. Girls, we love with our whole heart, especially the first love. We remember the first love, right? The first time you've truly been in love. We lose ourselves through it. Hopefully we don't have to, because hopefully we don't meet a man that treats us like that. Hopefully we meet a man that allows us to thrive, a man that builds us up. But it's not the case all the time that that happens. And when you find a man that's not like that, it's a suppression. And it leads to all kinds of things. And when girls are willing to love so passionately from their heart, we would do anything for the person that we love. We would do anything to make him see that we're the one. Like, look, I can change him. I'm the one for you. Another thing I wanted to touch upon, which kind of like ties into losing yourself as a person when we go through these relationships. Okay, so we lose ourselves, right? I think we've got that point. I wanted to point out and just speak about that in our culture, more often than not, we suffer in silence. Girls from like South Asian or Arab culture, whatever, we suffer in silence via our marriage or through our marriage. If we are in a detrimental marriage, if you're not, alhamdulillah, I'm so happy for you, I love that for you. But the girls that are, or the girls that have been, we suffer. We don't go and tell our parents. We don't go and share all of the heartache that we're going through because we feel shy. We feel shamed to do so. Not that it's our fault, but we don't want to upset our family. We don't want to bring shame on our family. So we conceal these things. So not only have we lost ourselves, we're also dying inside as well. Because this is a fire that burns within that we can't even show to the people that we love the most. I remember I went to my family house. My family had no idea. Oh my God, are you crazy? They had no idea. I was suffering in silence. I wasn't allowed a phone. I used to go to the phone box to ring my mom. And my mom used to say, Tam, why don't you just get a phone? Like, I miss hearing from you every day. And I must have come up with such a silly excuse like, oh, yeah, I will get one, Mom. She didn't know I'm not allowed a phone. Her daughter's not allowed a phone. I suffered in silence. I kept that to myself because I don't want to worry her. I don't feel like I can say that. I don't feel like I can cry for help in that moment. There was another time when I had gone to the family home, my family home. I didn't go often. But when I did go, I never wanted to go back home, like to that horrible flat. I wanted to stay there with them, but I couldn't. The time used to go so quick when I was there because all I ever wanted to be was there with them, safe. But I couldn't because I was married. I had to go back home. That was quite a hard time. That was quite a horrible feeling, actually. But just back to the point, I remember I was at my mom's house and I must have had like a thick lip, but it was almost healed. So the lip was raised a little bit. Obviously, I don't need to say how I got the thick lip. I think we all can understand how that happened. So I'm in the kitchen and my dad comes in and I'm like, oh shit. Like my dad is so thorough. He notices everything. So I was like, oh shit, let me look the other way. So like I kind of slyly turned my head like that. And my dad was like, what's that on your lip? So rather than say to my dad, it's a thick lip, I'm going through domestic violence, I've been punched in the mouth, rather than say that, I said, oh, I've had lip filler. And I got cussed for that. And he went mad at me for that. My dad's like, why are you changing yourself? You don't need to do lip fillers. This was like, lip fillers were not as popular then. Obviously, I have had them now. But I got in trouble for having lip fillers when I didn't even have lip fillers. When really what I should have said was, Dad, it's a thick lip that I'm recovering from, okay? Because I'm suffering and I'm going through a bad time. But I didn't want to share that with my dad because I didn't want to not so much bring shame on, he had let me marry the man that I wanted to marry. And I didn't want to be like, oh, maybe I should have married the man that my dad wanted me to marry. I didn't want to put myself in that position where it's like, right, I told you so, or, oh, Tam, is that what you married? We had someone great for you to marry. You could have married anybody and you chose that. I didn't want to. I really loved my husband. I didn't want to, hear them things. I didn't want anybody to hurt my ex-husband. My dad would have killed him if he'd have known how I was suffering. He really would have. He would have killed him had he have known how I was suffering. So I kept all of that in myself. In myself, I was dying internally. Dying. And I know that a lot of girls keep stuff to themselves, because they don't, even if they're not married, they might like somebody and they've had an argument with them, and then it's like you live at home in the family home and your heart's broken, but you can't show your family that you've been crying. I've been through that before, where I don't know, you probably started talking to somebody and then obviously you can't say to your family, oh, I'm talking to whatever guy, whatever, and I don't know, you probably had a row with them and it's like, oh my God, your heart's broken, but then mum calls you downstairs because dinner's ready. Okay, I've got to go downstairs and eat now. I can't show them that something's wrong with me. I can't, we keep a lot of things in. We keep a lot of things in. And that's another way that we can lose ourselves. We lose ourselves through love, and we can lose ourselves through the things that we can't share, the things that we have to keep to ourselves, the things that we just let burn inside us, the things that we just let take over us, because we can't say, Mom, I'm suffering, Dad, I'm suffering. We can't do that. We don't feel like we can. My dad is a very good man. He has always said, your bedroom's your bedroom here. Don't ever feel like you can't come back home if you want to get divorced. Don't ever feel like you have to stay there if you don't want to be. I was lucky like that, but I understand that there are girls that don't have that luxury. There are girls that they don't have that. You're married, you stay there. I don't feel like I can get divorced and go home to my family home. I don't want to bring shame on them. And I get that. I understand that. Any girl that's been through that, I get that. I really do. Because even though my dad welcomed me home with open arms, I still felt shy and shameful to go and tell him what I had been suffering through. I still felt like I couldn't tell him. And that was with a dad that was welcoming me back. So I've touched upon two ways that we can lose ourselves and that we have lost ourselves. Most of the people that message me have lost themselves either in love or through keeping it in, not being able to share. So right, it's happened now. We've lost ourselves in love. We've lost ourselves. We are a shadow of the person that we used to be. We don't recognize ourselves. We feel lost. We feel isolated. The marriage is over. The relationship is over. Whatever it is. You didn't get to marry him. You did marry him and you divorced. Whatever it is. We lost ourselves because we became consumed with that person. So what do we do now? How do we start again now? I've spoken to girls recently that are going through this. How do we start again now? I have been on a journey where I started from scratch, from rock bottom. It wasn't easy. It was very, very hard. But what I did and what I would encourage you to do is get to know yourself. Learn to love yourself. Spend some time alone. Don't worry about getting married again just yet. Don't worry about finding somebody else just yet. You need to heal. It's like a wound, the plaster's been taken off. Let it get some air, let it heal. You need to heal. Because if we are not healed and then we just go to somebody else or we find somebody else straight away, that's not fair. Sorry, itchy nose. And that just leads to all kind of problems. So we need to heal. We need to find ourselves again. And we do that. How I did that was by doing things that I had never done. I did a lot of traveling alone. I have been to quite a few countries alone, myself, doing things that feed my soul. Just sitting on the beach in Barcelona, walking through the sea in Albania, letting the water go through my feet, just really, really soaking in the environment and just pausing and looking around and thinking, wow, Alhamdulillah, I am here and I'm okay. But I wasn't here and I wasn't okay. And I remember the days when I was dying internally, and I remember the days when I was suffering and I was on fire internally. And then you bring it back to the present moment and it's like, wow, Alhamdulillah, I made it through, I'm gonna be okay. But I'm on an adventure, I'm learning new things about myself and I'm finding things out about myself. The way that I found myself was through traveling alone and doing things that I wouldn't normally do. Do new things because you need to find yourself. If you are lost, baby girl, you need to find yourself. And we find ourselves by journeys of self-discovery, reflection, do stuff you haven't done before. Like I just said, find yourself. And when you find yourself, learn to love yourself. Fall in love with yourself. Because when you fall in love with yourself, the appreciation you have for yourself and the way you feel about yourself sets the bar for what you allow next. When you truly, truly love yourself and are obsessed with yourself, you won't accept anything less. And if somebody should come around that wants to mess around with us and play about with us and treat us like crap, guess what? We're not going to accept that because we've been on this long ass journey of reflection, self-love, and we've learnt who we are and we've learnt to love ourselves. So I'm not going to allow that to happen. That's just what worked for me. And I am currently in a place where I'm good in life. Alhamdulillah, I'm good in life. I have been shit in life. I have been on the floor, below the floor. Yeah? But I built myself back up. And that's how I did it. And if I did it, you can do it as well. All you have is yourself. That is it. And don't ever lose yourself in somebody or for somebody again. The first time, I'll allow you. We're allowed to do it the first time, right? First love and everything. Second time, it's not happening, baby girl. Once we found ourselves, we ain't never going back. Once we've fallen in love with ourselves, we're never losing ourselves and falling out of love with ourselves again. That's episode 9. That's all I have to say because I keep saying that I'm going to keep these videos to 15 minutes, but they keep going over. I talk a lot, but I hope that what I have to say is relevant and that you feel it. I hope I help you. I hope I save you. I hope I whatever. Yeah, I'll see you in the next episode.